Hello, and welcome to 100% Real with Ruby. Today, I have amazing Monica on. And Monica is someone who reached out to me as a listener from my podcast, and she's been following my content for quite a long time. And in our conversations, when I say reach out to me and talk to me and I like asking questions. I like getting to understand where you're coming from when you ask me certain questions. And one thing that I think has made a lot of not just women, but everyone really hesitant and skeptic in reaching out, in answering questions, in engaging in conversation is because they think they're going to get sold to, is because they think that they're about to get real in to some program and they can't say no. And even me as a coach, you should see my inbox flooded with business coaches and marketers and people saying, let me promote this, let me promote that. Hey, Ruby, how long have you been coaching for? Like, it's everywhere and it makes you not want to engage in conversations. But I think the less that we engage in these conversations, the less that we put on our brave and talk with the people that know their shit, that want to educate you, that want to get to know you, that want to help you, it's going to allow you to expand your perspective if you allow yourself to. And I know that's something that you've experienced yourself. You had a particular mindset, and then overhearing my content in multiple ways, you were able to expand that. I don't know where you were before and what exactly hit it with you, but I do know there was that muscle and the tone and the lean statement that you mentioned. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about that before we talk about the dieting and the maintenance stuff.
Of course. First of all, thank you for being there for me, because maybe you are not aware of impact you have with your podcast, with your stories, with your posts, because many of us are maybe silent or don't have habit of commenting. But I see you as a very kind person. I see that this is a great passion of yours, helping others. So I sent you a message, dear Ruby, what do you think about this or that? And you were always, just about always, very kind to answer me. So thank you for that. And thank you for inviting me today. I want to be very respectful of your hour, so I will be very quick in the intro about me, my life. So I was very astonished about the human body from the very early age of my life. So I was eating clean and healthy for like last 30 years, and I'm 37 now. So uh, and uh, as I hit the teenage years, of course, diet culture was presented to me, and it's not very good for young females. And I'm, as a mother, I see myself very responsible for educating my daughter about this, and I'm doing this for her. I want to show her what woman can be capable of, that she can be strong, that she never needs to diet, that she needs to feel very comfortable in her body, that muscle is organ, do you say organ on English, of longevity. And it is very important to have a great health span, not long lifespan. Please don't laugh, but I have vision of myself standing at the Swiss Alps at 80 years old, with a very athletic, strong body, and very grateful for the journey I began at my 36 years old. So I'm very new to the gym, because last 10 years I was very committed to raising a family, and I signed myself a role of mother of three. So you maybe don't know how much of obligation is that, but just 15 months ago I started strength training, and thankfully through Colin DeVay, he's a really also great guy, I discovered your account. And from then I was like, every time I doing my chores, through the house, I have a Ruby podcast in my ears and listening to your guests and you. So I learned a lot. Very grateful for this.
I loved that part where you did mention that it's not just how much that you need to do as a mother for the kids, but it's they witness everything that you do, and you can tell them all that you want. You can try to make them love themselves, make them whatever, but they learn from how you are with yourself. And I'm going to say that your approach to wanting to be the strongest version of yourself and show that to them is probably the best gift that you not only gave them but you gave yourself. And I know that you know this because the person that you were before strength training is completely different than the person that you are now, because people don't realize that when you're in that gym with the mindset of building muscle, of getting stronger, it's completely different from going in there to just change your body, because you already tried that so many times with the dieting that you were doing.
Yes.
And the first message around about that you sent to me was all around wanting to have a healthy relationship with food, because as soon as you start to use it as a means to change your body, you will always have a like this, I wish it could just be as easy, which to me, I feel like there's so much shame around the fact that we are wanting to manipulate food in a certain way. I think that it's a good thing because it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And if we weren't trying to manipulate our food to be healthy, to
Mhm.
function better, to be able to lift strong, recover strong, sleep better, then we would fall to what the majority of people are doing, and that's becoming obese and very unhealthy. And it's this lifestyle that is longevity, but it can't be longevity when you're coming through it with the restriction mindset. So this is where I'm going to now come into
Yes.
where about in that part there. What is it that you are struggling with most? What mindsets? What did you believe? And how did you kind of move away from that to starting to embrace eating more food, embracing carbs, embracing the lifestyle of muscle versus shrinking?
Yes, of course. Um, I was uh, never afraid of carbs, particularly because 10 years prior to this year, I was plant-based vegan, So I learned a lot there, but at the beginning of this year, I started to take omnivore approach because you uh, learned me that protein has a huge role, and really it's hard to eat enough protein when you are a vegan. Um, so strength training was a great way for me to show up for myself, to have great discipline, to better myself in a way that I have a good energy, I feel good in my body, and I can give that good energy to my family and everyone around me. Because when you are very confident and happy in your own body, you really radiate everywhere. It's the best feeling in the world, because many of my friends ask me, how do you get up 4 a.m. and go to the gym? What are you even doing there? But I'm very excited just about every time I get up. Um, uh, last year, I was participating in this reverse diet study. Doing it's a study by Dr. Bill Campbell from University of Florida. So the main goal of this study was to find out what is the best way to maintain fat loss after the diet is over. Because as you know, Ruby, and many times you have said, everyone knows how to lose fat, but no one knows how to keep it off. And also, we need to understand that building muscle is a very slow process. So I can say that I'm very humbled by the experience that it is a slow process, and I cannot really build my muscle on a deficit, because I lost 5% of weight, which was the main goal of that study. So I experienced huge hyperphagia, extreme hunger. Although my calories were at maintenance, like 1900 calories, but I was hungry like I was eating 900, And
I want to rewind a bit because
Mhm.
I think we missed out on the part where
Yeah.
before, like, this study first put them into an aggressive deficit, and an
Yes.
aggressive, like, this is something that I don't think a lot of people can truly grasp the like the numerical thing of it.
Yes.
When you're in a deficit, you can easily go into up like 20%, 25, 30%. An aggressive deficit, Monica did a 30% deficit, and that is
Yes.
huge. I'll let you talk about the calories there, but when
Yes.
it comes to building muscle, 5% is where we want to be aiming. However, most of us just try to get the best of everything in maintenance and then expect to see the same amazing changes without actually pushing into surplus. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can build muscle if you're eating enough in maintenance, which is nothing under 1800 calories. There is hardly a single person who cares about being fit and healthy who maintains under 1800. 1750 if you're a tiny little person, but if you're walking and trying to live longer, you'll be over 1800. What was your deficit calories like? How long did you do it for? What was the experience like? And then we'll go into the reverse diet, because you
Yeah.
mentioned you went straight up while other people
Yes.
did the quote unquote
We will.
reverse. Has been debunked.
I'm very happy. My group was maintenance calories, because I don't know how would I survive the reverse diet and this slow bringing calories up.
But
But
wait, sorry, that part right there. Did you hear what she just said? She
yeah,
has no idea how she would have survived the slow reverse.
yeah,
Yet, this is what most people want to do. Most people say they maintain on 1500. They'll try a diet and then they want to slowly creep up their calories. But the whole point of this is that no one is actually doing a deficit, doing a diet the way that diet should be done to effectively lose fat, because it's very impossible to put yourself into the degree of a deficit that gets the results that you're here to get the results of what an effective diet should be. Yet you're doing I'm not saying this in a mean way. I'm saying this as in, like, comparing to Monica. Monica wasn't in a place where she was dieting for ages. She was training, she was building. And
yeah,
that's the only reason, because she's made all these changes, that she was able to go into this aggressive deficit. There's no way in the world that she would have been able to be disciplined or motivated or committed enough to go through the sacrifices of what an actual effective deficit is if she hadn't done that. And that is why she was so grateful to come up to maintenance, because when you do shit
yes,
properly, you want to eat more food, you want to build muscle, because you are still in a deficit when you're reversing. You are not building in a reverse diet because you're still under eating. I just needed to say that because you did a
yes.
really good job in that mindset piece. That's the only reason you succeeded.
Yes, I need to also say that most people misunderstand the reverse diet. They see it as some magical tool, but it is just a prolonged deficit, but less and less aggressive until you reach that maintenance level of calories. So I'm a very petite woman. I'm 160 centimeters, maybe a little taller than you, and with 50 kilos. So my deficit calories were one 1315. So my deficit was not too long. I lost 35% of my body weight in less than 7 weeks. Okay. So from September until January, I was in maintenance calories. They were 1880. And I think just about in February, my hunger and fullness cues were restored, because until then I was like ravenously hungry, unbelievably hungry. Although I know I ate in a meal like 700 calories. I was hungry. My body wanted food. So deficit is not something to joke about. We need to be very, very strategic when to enter it and why to enter it. I think regarding the reverse, it could be a good strategy maybe for people that do have maybe a lot of weight to lose. But for lean individuals, I see this recovery diet or straight to maintenance a better approach than reverse. I don't know what the findings of study are. I think they will be soon published, but I saw a sneak peek of the reverse diet study results, and I think the ad libidem group uh, maintained the most weight loss. I don't know why. Maybe they were afraid to go to straight to maintenance. Maintenance group was, I think, on the second place, and the reverse on the third. But we'll see. We'll see soon.
I think something that is really important to note here as well, like, yeah, okay, if some people have extra body fat to lose, they could, but this is something that I don't think gets spoken about enough. And that's exactly what happens when you've been dieting. And it's exactly what you mentioned. Usually it takes about 2 weeks for your hunger signals to regulate. Sometimes it could take 3, because when you're in a diet, you either have your appetite suppressed, and then like because you're so stressed out, your appetite could get suppressed, and then it's just easier to stick to, or you could get so ravenously hungry. Either way, when you start to eat more food, you're going to start to upregulate those hunger hormones, but the satiety hormones don't come up until 2 to 3 weeks later. And what do a lot of people do when they don't have a strategic diet? They add in all the foods that they couldn't eat before, instead of doing, which I already know this is what you did, a whole lot of protein, a whole lot of fruit,
Yes.
lot of filling foods is what Monika did, and she still felt hungry. And if you're doing a reverse diet, that is the best way to fail, because you're going to be hungry, you're going to binge, and then because you binge, you're going to keep trying to repeat the same cycle over. Oh no, I'm going to have to keep my calories here because I just overate, so I have to make up for it. And then that's exactly what people do in a diet as well. It's like, because you can't stick to it, it's like, well, I wasn't strict enough on my diet, I'm going to have to prolong it. But
Yes.
that's serving you.
One thing I did after this study ended, I ditched the scale, Ruby, because for my whole adult life, I was jumping from diet to diet to diet, like I think 90% of the women, because we all face diet culture. So if I see number increase on the scale, I would be drawn to go to another diet. But I listen to Ruby when she says scale is not a good measurement, especially if you're a lean individual. So if you want to build muscle, please take photos, take measurements of your waist, of your, I don't know, hips, and everything, and let that be your measure. So I didn't weigh myself maybe for 5 to 6 months, and the other day I stand on the scale and maybe kilo up, 2.5 kilos. So nothing changes much if you are on the maintenance calories, which is a good thing. Nothing to be afraid about. Diet is not needed, especially if you are like me approaching your 40s, where there is not a lot of opportunity to build muscle. Everything will be slower. Your anabolic response will be much I don't know how to say, um, um, help me with the word.
No, what you were saying just then was right. It's
It
you.
would, it would not be as good as when you were younger. So I don't have much time to fool around. My main goal now, from now on, is to properly build my muscle tissue, to enter my premenopause and menopause years as in the best condition I could possibly have.
I it was exactly what you said. It is much
Yes.
harder to build muscle when you age, but you
Yes.
can still lose fat as effectively because the fat loss process isn't something that's hindered as you age at all.
Yes.
However, you are less anabolic. You become less and less anabolic. If you're not aiming to build muscle, you're losing muscle by nature. So if you're continually trying to shrink yourself, if you're continually thinking and arguing that 1600 calories is your maintenance,
Yeah.
then you're going to stay stuck because you're not intentionally focusing on building muscle at all in that period of time, even though you think that it's working for you. Is it really? Like, why not just have a higher calorie target instead of eating 1600? It works until you binge and then you repeat the cycle. How about actually strategically fueling your training so you can build muscle, so you can have this longevity that Monica is talking about? Like this, you're not, we don't let our goals evolve with us. You mentioned this at the start of the podcast, and I think it's important to bring here. It's not that trying to focus away from like shrinking and dieting and scales and focusing on muscle. It's not like that is separate from still looking your best. It's not like focusing away from like diets in particular, like deficits, means giving up on your end goal. They should coexist. It's just that if your whole life is focused around deficits and dieting, you're never going to get to where you want to be. But
Yes.
if you do have that body fat to lose, yeah, there's going to be a diet in there. But if you keep saying, I need to just get it off now, and you can't have that delayed gratification, how can you actually see the results that you want? Because has what you done worked? But you mentioned the scales. I really want to ask this question
Yes.
because there's the mindset shift there. You don't just give up the scales. There is a
Yes.
huge mindset shift that comes with that. I really want you to talk about that part in particular, what spurred that. And I do want you to bring in the quote that I say that always comes into your mind, because I do feel like that's worth reiterating.
Okay, I'll just first mention this. I will talk about females because males know their thing, know role of muscles. They all their whole life want to be muscled, but females, Ruby, we are doing great disservice to ourselves. This thing we are talking about now, I would say 99% of females in my surrounding doesn't even know nothing about role of muscle, nothing about properly eating, proper nutrition, proper recovery, nothing. Maybe this is something you talk about every day and it's normal for you, but other people in my surrounding are, when if you would say them this, it would be first time that they hear this, that they need to have structured 3 meals a day with proper protein, carbs, and little fat, that they need to strength train, that they need to walk, if they are sitting around whole day. So regarding the scale, the great part of this reverse diet study was that I was writing my weight every day, and I saw trends, and I developed a healthy relationship with scale, because I saw it is normal that one day after, for example, like day training, it's normal for weight to go up for 1 kilo or 2 kilos down the other day. So the scale is jumping up, down, up, down. But the one thing that is important is the trends through the months. So after the reverse diet study ended, I wanted to ditch the scale, just because I know my mindset. Prior to this January, February, where I wanted to build my muscle, I knew that if I saw number on the scale increasing steadily up, I would go into another diet. I know myself. So I did the scale for 5 to 6 months. And whenever I get up at 4 a.m., first little Ruby in my head would say, you need fuel for proper muscle building. So lean is muscle, muscle is lean. Muscle needs fuel. So I never skip my pre-workout jam and rice cakes, even if it is 4 a.m. So I'm at the gym. I'm doing the best I can. I'm progressively overloading. I'm properly fueling myself after the training. Uh, Although they say now the anabolic window is maybe 5 to 6 hours, I really want to have a great focus on this peri-nutrition workout before and after, because that's my main goal, to support my muscle building.
There was something that you said there, and
Yeah.
I think you know that I was the same. I don't know whether you heard those podcasts. I'm actually curious whether you have, but so I had the best relationship with the scale and the best relationship with food. Oh, like when I first got into the gym, because my only focus was I want to see the scale go up. I was chasing it up. I was flexing in the mirror all the time. I was getting guys to stand behind me with my arms behind my back to pretend that their biceps were my biceps. And I'd get them to flex and I'd try to make it look like me. Like I was chasing that muscle. I was chasing the strength. And like I didn't start that way, but eventually once I found my love in the gym, because at first it was just like, let's just play around, because I was that timid little person that didn't believe that I belonged in the gym. But then as soon as I started playing around, etc., that's when I started doing that. And then because there was Woolworths, which is like a grocery store nearby, straight after the gym, I would go into Woolworths. I would get a protein bar that was like 300 calories with protein, and I would have that, and then I'd come home and also have a protein shake and then some fruit. And I did that little, well, I don't know whether I believed in the anabolic window, but to me it was just like I needed to get in my protein. And before I trained, it was always I'm having tuna. I was a pescatarian when I started, and then I got addicted to chicken. Regardless, I was fine with the scale going up and all that stuff, and then I competed. And once I started chasing the scale down, I don't know what happened, but I could not let that number go anywhere else but down. As soon as it went up, I started to be okay with it as long as it didn't go above a certain number. If it was anywhere that number, I would just like, it was insane. And then my coach would give me macros to hit. And amazing little Ruby, the stubborn brat, would always undereat her carbs. She would cut out a good portion of her potato in every single one of her meal prep containers. This was the day that he was like, you need to meal prep all your food. I would get rid of some of the carbs and all of it. And like, nope, not having that. I'm going to just eat this. And I'll just put some more lettuce on top because I wanted to undereat my calories. I didn't want my weight to go up that way. I thought that this would be the easy way. And this is the thing with dieting. This is why you need to have someone there to pull you out of it, because once you go into a diet, your brain chemistry changes so much. You become more focused on your body. It changes your relationship with so many different things. And that you said before I clicked record that the last 15 to 16 months I have had more of an impact on you than ever. I now
Yes.
assume that has something to do with getting rid of the scale as well. But I want
Yes.
you to go more into that, because that came after the aggressive diet and now wanting to build muscle. Obviously, the old thoughts are going to come in because it feels uncomfortable to be pushing it for a longer period of time, because we can do it for a short period. But after a
Yes.
while, that's when it gets uncomfortable. So tell me about that.
Yes. Habits don't change easily, as you know, and I'm very, very aware of it. Maybe 3 to 4 months ago, I started journaling and logging my training, my habits, my recovery, my nutrition. Because I wanted to see patterns. What am I doing wrong? Because many of us miss the forest for the trees, as you know. And if you don't look from above, when I don't get enough sleep, I'm very hungry. Oh, that's because I ate above my calories budget that day. And you connect the dots. So, 15 to 16 months ago, when I started to listening to your podcast, um, I saw many habits that I thought were good, but weren't at the time. So I strategically wanted to improve them. Uh, First is to structure my meals, because I was guilty as charged for grazing, for licks and bites after my kids. I wouldn't set properly to eat a proper meal. And when my husband would ask me, "What did you eat today?" I was like, "I don't know. I ate a little bit of that, little bit of that, little bit of that. I don't know what I ate." So I structured my meals, because Ruby said it's don't graze. Please have a well-rounded meal with enough protein in it, with enough carbs in it, fat just enough. I started to put a lot of more focus on peri-workout nutrition. You know, I started to uh, see a great role of protein. I can Ruby easily eat like 200 grams of protein, as I mentioned to you earlier, and I really don't know why people struggle with it. I don't know. Um, Also,
And that's coming from someone who used to be a vegan.
yeah, from someone who used to be a vegan. A great legacy of me being a vegan was I'm at all not afraid of carbs. At all, Ruby. You know, I love my potatoes, I love my bananas, rice, and everything. But I used to be afraid of processed carbs. You wouldn't see me eat cornflakes, which I adore. You wouldn't see me eat cereal or gummy bears for God's sake. But you taught me also that performance carbs and high GI carbs have their role, very good role, especially when you strength train, and especially when you have like 30 minutes to session strength training session, because you don't have much time for I don't know, oats to take their magic for glycogen,
Mm.
putting glycogen in muscle, you know. So there was a lot I learned from you, and I'm still learning. I was listening just about, I think, yesterday, your podcast about petite woman, because I am a petite, and what needs to be done for us, and that we need to be very aware that we don't have a huge calorie budget. And uh, I learned a lot from you, Ruby. You know, I can even say how much, but you had a great impact on my journey for last 15 to 16 months.
I really appreciate you saying that. I like,
Yeah.
honestly, I really do love doing this stuff. And for me, it's when I have that dialogue back and forth, it's when I have that engagement, it's when people actually connect that I get my spark. And it's when I don't have that connection with people that I'm like, why do I even bother? And that's why I want you guys to like engage and connect,
Yeah.
because I love making things that you guys need to hear. Most of the stuff that I put out is what is going to help my clients, because I
Yeah.
started the podcast in 20 back when it was on something that I could just record on my phone. All of my original podcasts were done in like 12 to 20 minutes on my drive home from the gym to my house. Either every day or every second day. I did them for, I think, the whole first, let's just say 3 months, was just nearly every day that I had a training session, there was a podcast going up. And it was for my clients. That is what the whole thing is about. It's about helping you. It's not about bringing on some guest that's going to get me 1 million bloody views when it's a turd of a guest that doesn't actually provide any useful information and believes in biohacking. Like, no,
Yes.
the only biohack we need is to stop chasing deficits all the time. And it doesn't matter how much food you eat if your mindset is still about diets. But something you mentioned there with being
Yes.
petite, I am small and I get to eat a lot of food. And that's only because I made my lifestyle suit me, in the sense of I feed movement. I move a lot. I want to move so that I can have that ability, because I'm someone with a huge appetite as well. But outside of that, it's building muscle, because the more that you stay down regulated in a deficit, the less able you are to build muscle, to build the capacity to get really strong. And I don't know whether your training approach or how much oomph that you give your training has changed, but the best thing you can do for yourself is build as much training capacity as you can, because as much as you don't quote unquote burn calories in the gym, you sure as hell burn a lot more the stronger you are, but also you have a greater capacity to maintain muscle and to look like you lift, regardless of whether you do a deficit or whether you don't train for 2 weeks. You have a lot more muscle memory there. You're going to be a lot more solid the stronger you are, because strength comes, like, the muscle that comes with being strong as hell is kind of different than just fluffing around with weights. Like that's different muscle fibers that are triggered, and they're slower to disintegrate, they're slower to lose, whichever way that you want to say it. And not only that, but you can get a lot more out of less the stronger you are. And who doesn't want to get a lot more out of less? Has your training approach changed? That is something that I do want to actually ask you before we sum
Yeah.
it up.
First of all, I need to say that I really, really like your stream of thoughts type of podcast, because that are the best podcast you have. You know, when you are one on one and you let your thoughts just run. I have my coach Leila, who I'm working with in person 3 times a week. So she's a professor of sport and she knows her thing. And she is above me whenever I do any exercise. She pushes me beyond my limits, and I push myself. My training is programmed by her, so I trust her very much. I saw a great increase in my strength for the last 15 to 16 months. Hypertrophy, not so much, a little, but I think it's because of the prolonged deficit I was in. I am going to lean into my first building phase this September. I My coach will be this research assistant who was assigned to me in this reverse diet study, Talon Westerveld. He's a great guy. So he will approach my nutrition goals during this building phase, and we'll see. I'm very, very excited about that.
it's fun when you get to participate in studies. That just reminded me that my ADHD brain didn't get back to a professor because there's a study getting run near here. But with that aside, there is actually something that I feel will be a really good way to tie this up, because I feel the mindset behind all of this, not just within your own head, but combating the diet culture that's also around you, the societal pressures, the fact that every time you open your social media, it is flooded with people just,
Absolutely.
oh, she's clean, she's got shreds here, she's got this there, and you compare what you see as their best with when you feel like your worst, and especially when you're in like weeks of your period and you feel gross and sluggish, or worse than anything, which is something that you touched on at the beginning of this, when you're not showing up for yourself, you are the hardest on yourself. So if you're lacking in some areas and not doing what you intended to do, and you're always going to feel that way if you set such high expectations that you set yourself up for failure before you begin. So first, make sure your expectations are aligned and the actions you're demanding of yourself are actually realistic, because bloody hell, how can you expect anything from that? That's so annoying, because it's like you expect to master everything without just starting where you're at. We need to start here. But we need to then, so that mindset of being able to stay true to what you want to do, especially as you go into the building phase, and especially now knowing how hard it was just for a short period of time because you pulled yourself out, transitioning from the aggressive dieting into then maintenance calories, which was actually a good thing for you because you were excited, but it doesn't stop the mindset urges. But now going into a building phase with all that's around you, how are you going to set yourself up for being bulletproof?
With few things. First, my main focus this year until September will be and was mastering the basics. With the training, with the nutrition, and with the enough sleep. Because I want to have all of my basics very, very nailed down and my mindset to go into this building phase. One thing I'm afraid, but you maybe talked about during your vacation, I don't know, a few months ago, that I'm afraid of other people's opinions who are not maybe in a gym community and who always comment on other people's physiques, because we all know that in building phase you will maybe look first worse then better. But I know my goals, I have a vision, and I will be very focused in it. I just need to prepare myself mentally and emotionally for other people's comments. What am I doing and why am I doing that? Because I don't belong to the gym community. I have my job, I have my family, I have my other obligations, and not necessarily people don't see me as a gym goer, as I can say.
That I never saw it that way until now. That's huge. It's so much harder especially when you're a corporate girly. This is even harder because you're so far detracted from people who lift. I don't think anyone listening to this, because obviously if you're listening to this, you're into the fitness and health stuff. I don't think you guys actually realize that you are the minority. You're like the 2%, the 5% of people who actually give a shit about your health. And then you go into a department store and you try on clothes and then you have a meltdown because they don't fit you. When yes, they're made for the other 95% of people that don't lift, that don't need clothes, that actually are made to shape and sculpt the body that is shapely and sculpted. So this is what we need to keep in mind, because I was happy that you brought up that thing, because she's Russian. The way that she directly says things is very matter of fact, to the point. This is how it is. You need small waist. You need to do ab exercises. That's why your waist big, because you eat big. I'm like, nah, I'm built like this. Like, I am built like this. So unless you're really sure in what you're doing, which is very difficult to do when you don't show up for yourself and you don't understand well, not, it's not even understanding. You just need to trust yourself. You need to have someone to reroute you, and you need to build that unshakable confidence, which is hard to do when all you can think about is dieting, when you don't give yourself a chance to eat enough and to find exactly what strength training and being strong can do for you. Do you
Thank
have
you,
any, do
Ruby.
you have
Thank
any
you,
last?
Ruby, because you will be with your voice during the journey with me, and I believe I can do that because I saw we are similar weight, Ruby, and you weigh almost 8 kilos. And if people would saw us together, they wouldn't know which one weighs more. Muscle is very underrated in female community, and I'm very excited to build my own.
Yeah, that's actually a good point to pick
Yeah,
up. So I'm about 4 centimeters shorter than, let me work this out. 4 centimeters, 2 inches, because I have a lot of Americans on here. I'm
yeah,
about 1.6 inches shorter than Monica. And in that, I am 2 pounds. I'm 7 kilos / 15 pounds heavier than Monica.
yeah.
And that this is the thing. Weight does not show body composition. Even if you talk about body fat percentages, it's not the same because it depends how much muscle mass is on that person, and also depends. Oh, also, if you bring in boobs take up fat percentage, just so you know. But like these are the things that we need to consider, that if we keep letting numbers define us, and if we don't find our own sense of confidence and security, and if we don't stay focused on our own lane, we will keep getting distracted from the goals that we want most. So I love that you added that in. And I will, if you do need a little like rant or something, just like shoot me a message. But I'm trying to get those reminders back up onto my stories, especially when the renovations are done in my gym. But yeah, it's once build muscle. Muscle is strong. Strong is muscle. And if you aren't getting stronger, you're not building muscle. And if you're not building muscle, don't expect to see significant changes in your physique, because it's
And
only,
muscle needs fuel. Please.
yeah. And muscle needs fuel. It needs
Fuel.
carbs, and it needs you to stop treating it like it can be dieted on, because it can't. You need more than 1,600 calories a day.
Yes, yes. Even if you're petite, even.
Yes, even if you're petite. So get just trust it. Just do an experiment. And if you're scared, reach out to me and I will guide you through it, because this is what I love doing. I love teaching women to eat more food, to train hard, and to feel freaking confident because they lifted something they did not think they could lift before. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. If you do want to reach out to Monica, just let me know and I will connect you guys. But otherwise, please leave me some feedback. Let me know what resonated with you. Let me know if this shifted any mindsets within you around dieting, around lower calories, because I will say it until the cows come home. Dieting is so easy, not easy as in easy to execute, but easy to lose a lot of weight in a short period of time if you know how to do it right and set it up right. Muscle is the hardest thing to build. You build literally at 16 times slower the rate that you do losing fat. So if you keep troubleshooting back to dieting because it's summer, because you feel uncomfortable, because Auntie Joe made a comment on your body, you're like, just don't wonder where the results are. Just start to look within yourself and try to do the journaling that Monica did, because that journaling part that you mentioned is where it all started for you. If you didn't do that journaling, I don't think you would have been able to see where all these things were lining up and where things were mismatched. Put things on paper. They never get sorted out in your head. And that was my favorite part out of everything you said, because you actually wanted to figure things out. You put things on paper and you took action on that. So love you all, and you'll hear me on the next podcast.
Thank you for everything, Ruby. You're the best.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Have an amazing rest of your day. And yeah, honestly, there we go. Did you stop? No. It'll stop soon. Yeah. But if you have any other questions at all along the way, or if you do need to perk me up or me to make a post or a podcast on something, just let me know. Because I do actually, the solo podcasts are turning into a duo pod. Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay, type of podcast. Okay.
I feel really like that. But yeah, anything else, just shoot me a message. And
Thank
yeah.
you very much. Thank you very much, Ruby. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.